Hello there, everyone. Thanks for joining the live stream. Let's see what we have here. Hi and welcome. Got a lot of people writing in the chat. So I have what we have here. Okay. I miss you a lot. I, due to my job, can't see your videos. Yeah, for some reason, like for past 2 weeks, the views on the videos dropped. I don't know. It might be due to the holidays and stuff. Can you make a multiplayer FPS game for mobile tutorial? I'll have to put that on the list and see if I'll have time to make that one FPS for game for mobile. That's a big project. Hi, can make a multiplayer. Okay, ask the same, please. Yes, please. Okay. Can you use Playmaker instead of Bolt? No, I think I like Bolt better than Playmaker. It's just a totally different way than how I think about, like, I guess, logic. So it's not really intuitive for me to use Playmaker. I guess if you use tools that are closer to how Playmaker works, that's easier for you. But the node system, I like the node system better. Bolt's better. Bolt gain, mil gain. Anyone here from Emil gain? I think that's referring to Denny. Okay. Not allowed here. I didn't know how to code, but Playmaker is a good start. I'm not sure if Playmaker actually is a good start if you don't know how to code. I would actually suggest, like, if you really want to learn how to code, then the best way to learn coding is to use C#. Using any node system, so if you're not planning to use like Playmaker or Bolt in the long run, then you better off just going in C# and start small, but you will learn much faster that way than actually using Bolt or Playmaker. Bolt is closer to what C# is, and it uses basically the same structure and stuff like that, but it's still, like, learning C# is faster if you just start with C# instead of using Bolt or Playmaker. Yes, you do have to start small, and at first you probably won't know what you're doing. You're just probably copying tutorials or something like that, but you'll get there. I mean, no Bolt is can't buy Playmaker. Okay, I'm 11 and I learned C++ and it's similar to C#, so I'm making games from Brackeys. Yeah, so Brackeys, actually the last series that he did was I think like Introduction to C#. So he has a series, if you're looking to start. It's not using for Unity specific. He just uses to just demonstrate the C# language itself. So you can check that out and see if that's actually going to help you out. Unreal Engine tutorials. Yeah. Unreal Engine uses blueprints or C++. So, and as far as I know, Pranny, you're actually, it's closer to what Bolt is, and you're asking for Playmaker. So Um, so if you, yeah, I guess if you watch the Bolt tutorials, that's the same way that Unreal Engine works. Well, similar. It's better than has more capabilities than Bolt has currently, but Unity is working on fixing that. Okay, where Unreal Engine is more on the professional side and pretty hard, not trying to offend. No, I'm not offended about that. That Unreal Engine, as far as I see, most people actually use it using blueprints. So I don't know about if it's more professional or not, but it does have more, I guess, rendering capabilities, and you can have better. I mean, I guess you can get more performance out of it since you can go into C++ and actually change how the engine works itself, because you can basically rewrite the whole engine if you want. Is Bolt free? Yes, Bolt is free. It has been free since July, so you can definitely check that out. I'm really enjoying your multiplayer videos. Great work. Yes, so the which one? The Among Us series. I'm still not sure what the next episode is going to be on. I'm debating if I should do the lobby setup and creating new rooms, because I had requests for that, or complete the game loop of actually finishing, being able to win the game or like lose or something like that. Still deciding. Okay, what I lost it. Great work. I'm confused when Unity Soft opens and where and what to do next. I don't. So if you're confused and what to do with Unity, I'd suggest to use one of their projects. So they have Lego, I think, is a good Lego micro game. It's a good way, I guess, to learn Unity. You can actually build using that. You can build your game, because they have like logic blocks that are pre-built, and you can actually create your levels using that, and that will give you like introduction to the scene, how to manage around there. And they actually do have a what is it called, a interactive, so this starts with interactive, so it shows like what is where and stuff like that. So definitely check that out, because I think for start, it's those interactive projects actually pretty good. So yeah, check it out. Check that out. Watch the basic tutorial. Yeah, that always helps too. You just have to start and just not quit right away, because nothing comes fast. You have to put work into it. Now, what else? Let's just continue. No, do you know of any game engines without knowing how to code? I just want to design 3D games and make cool maps, if you understand. So again, like if you don't know code, you can use Unity. It does provide no code like Bolt. You can use Bolt or Playmaker, like it was mentioned before. You can use Unreal Engine. It has blueprints, which you don't need to know how to code. But again, if it's not about the code, it's about the programming aspect. Like, no matter what, if you're trying to create a game, you do need to do some programming. You can use code to program, or you can use like visual blocks or something like that, like nodes, or I don't know what's referred in Playmaker, but you can use those to create your program. So I don't know, as I see, it's more of learning how to program. That's the hard part, not the code itself, because nodes and like in actual code is just a different way of how you program. So the harder part to learn is actually programming itself and being able to like create logic based on some conditions, inputs, to actually have the game flowing. So that's that. The easiest one that that I tried out, and I was Billbox, but they have limited what you can do with the free version. So, and the paid version is pretty expensive to how I see it, that's pretty expensive for the paid version. If you're just trying to start game, the game industry is pretty hard. Like, it's not that the first game you're gonna make a living off or something like that. It's hard work. And with Billbox is more targeted towards hyper casual games. So that's not really what you're looking for, then that won't work. Okay, I'd say with no coding experience, just with logic. Even if Playmaker is visual scripting, you still need the coding logic to use it. So it's learn basic coding that starts Playmaker. Then start Playmaker. No. Well, with Playmaker, I think it's actually, I don't know, like, as much as I've seen Playmaker actually have it, but it's too different from what coding actually is about. So that's the biggest reason, like, that I wouldn't suggest using Playmaker. Playmaker, and if you're ever seeing yourself actually moving to C# or something like that, I see that Playmakers kind of gives you a totally different look into how programming actually works. And I don't know, but again, that's my opinion, and that's how I that's the feel that I get from Playmaker. The one I do have, just you guys know, I do have over 10 years of experience in programming. So, coding actually. Did a lot of different languages. So for me, C# is probably the easiest thing to use. And when I started using Bolt, that was actually more easier for me to actually for visual scripting, that was easier to use than Playmaker. Whenever I see Playmaker, it's just too much new things that I have to learn based on what I know. So knowing code and knowing trying to use Playmaker, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial or not. I just lost it. Oh no. Where am I at? Okay, then move to Bolt if you want Bracky's channel. Yeah, Bracky stopped posting new videos, so he's done. He's gonna try out new things, which I see where he's coming from. Like, after working for 8 years in an industry of software engineering, I also decided to try something new, but I don't know. Unreal Engine is more on the professional side. It's pretty hard, not trying to offend. Okay, so where am I at? Python. Thanks, dude. Both seems complicated than C#. Try to come in between. Low, high. The screen is so yeah. That someone said that for me, Bolt seems more complicated than C#. And yeah, if you already know some programming, then not programming. If you know some kind of code, some kind of language, programming language, then yep, you'd be better off with using C# than Bolt, because that's the cool part about coding is that the languages might be different, but how they work and how you connect the how you connect the logic together is the same. So that's why I see that the code is actually the skill of using code for programming is much better, because then you can, if you decide, you can transition into Unreal, and instead of trying to relearn the node system for blueprints, you can actually use the C++, because you already know the structure of the code. If you want to go to something that uses JavaScript, you can do that. So like you have less limitations to like sticking to one platform. Okay, so, the chat is taking a long time, but I guess you guys have a lot of questions. I was gonna start with with our project, but okay, I'll try to catch up, because I feel like it's gonna be I'm gonna be getting behind in the chat more and more. The screen is stopped. Yes, I am not doing the tutorial yet. Sorry about that. I haven't done the live stream for quite some time, so I guess a lot of people miss me. Okay, so I'm new to Unity. Can you help me get it started? I is not going. You can check out if you're looking. I guess you can check out the keep the tractor going tutorial. I think that's I don't remember already how much of Unity beginner stuff. I think I tried to cover it for Unity beginners. So when you never use Unity, that's the target I was going for. So I covered the basic layout of Unity. So let me get a shareable link and let me share it with you. So at the very bottom, there is a link to, I think I just shared the first video. There is a playlist, so if you want to, let me find the player list. I was doing the game for, I was making the game for, so here's the playlist. For a game jam, Bolt game jam that was ongoing. So at first I covered all the steps, and then once it was closer to the deadline, I actually like add a whole bunch of mechanics that I kind of skipped covering in the tutorial. In the tutorial series. So that kind of turned out not as good at the end. Okay, so I just lost it again. Okay, so that's the beginner tutorial Python. Okay, hello. Hi. He is not doing anything right now. Yes, I'm sorry. He is answering chat. I am new to Unity. Can you help me? Okay, so yeah, check the links and at the bottom right of the chat right now. I'm also noob. I made a Flappy Bird clone with some changes and currently working on 3D games doing level design. 3D game level design. One suggestion for like if you're actually just a beginner and you're just starting, start with a 2D game, because that's that will I see it that's a way much better like approach to learn a game development is by using the 2D. It gets rid of a lot of this thinking about the z-axis. It does I guess adds when you use 2D games you have to learn how to use layers, so because sorting layers, because you're stacking images on top of each other. But I think still in the long run the mechanics are easier to create for beginners in 2D than in 3D. So that's just my suggestion. So like Flappy Bird game, yeah, that's a good game to start with. It has like only one mechanic, I guess you can say. Have muted stream. And I'm playing for sport. Yes, good. Someone is okay. Have also made only 2 games. Nice. I have made 0. Okay. My C# teacher and my C# C++ will keep. Okay. Let me see what else I can answer here. Can't have collab or something. I've made 5 games, but published only Flappy Birds. And the 3, okay, I guess you guys talking, chat is communicating with each other. That's cool, that's cool. Right click, yes, creating a cube, that's a start. Yeah, you just remind me that I have not posted. I was gonna post the live stream links. Let me do that. Totally forgot about that. Okay, so. Stream is down. The music is from I have a link in the description of the video if you can. Okay, so I think I caught up with the chat, and let's start with right here I have like a Zelda clone, I guess. This project was made by another YouTuber, and I have not posted the link to the project in the description. I'll have to do that after the stream. But so I was creating the mechanic for picking up the jar. So right here you can see that the player can pick up the jar, put it down, and can throw it, and it just gets destroyed. Now this is This is logic using C#. So I have a video on creating this in C#. You can check the description to that video if you're looking for the C# version. But in this video, I'm gonna be actually, well, in this live stream, I'm gonna be recreating this with Bolt. So we'll see how much we're gonna be able to do, but I think we'll get the pickup and put down logic, and I don't know, I'll see if it's gonna be taking too long. It's softer than the music. The mic is softer, so is it quieter than the music? I can turn, yeah, I forgot to, always forget to turn down the music. Okay, thanks for mentioning that. Like, you can pick it up, put it down, and that's the logic that I'm gonna be trying to recreate right now. So this pickup logic and throwing logic. So let's go back here. There is only one script that the important one, and it's this pickup script right here. So if I actually turn that off and click play, let's see if that's gonna start. Stop the logic from working. So right now, if I click E, nothing happens, so I can't pick up those pots anymore. And I already have installed Bolt. So again, if you don't know how to install Bolt, the link that I sent to that tutorial is actually, it has the installation process of Bolt. In the Unity 2020, it did they did change that you can't use the asset store anymore, and you have to go through the web. But basically, you just need to find that that Bolt plugin in the asset store, use in your browser, and then open it in Unity. So it's just, yeah, the instructions are pretty simple to understand. So now I can add a flow machine. So let's add that. And I'll just use an embedded. It is the player is a prefab, so be better to use. Okay, I just lost it. Okay, it'd be better to use a macro instead, but if it's going to be causing us problems, I'll convert it. Okay, so here is the start of the flow graph. Let's open the code. I have already. So this is the code. Okay, I don't have the script open, unfortunately, so I'll have to go back and edit script. So that's the script that I'm going to be recreating, is this pickup script. But there is, so it's just 65 lines of code, but a lot of it is just syntax, I guess. But what I need is this variable direction to be actually passed from the player movement. So that's the one thing that I'm gonna do with code, but you can do it with your logic. If you have the movement logic with Bolt, you can just configure that using that. Now, so I'll have to add a variable. I always forget that I have to first write the name and then click plus. That error always happens with me. So this right here, the script direction. This is a object variable that I'm going to create, and it will be a vector 3. I can't see vector 3. I mean, I can use vector 2, but I'll just use a vector 3. So the logic of me setting the direction is right here. Pick up direction, and if I want to use that if I want to set the variable for my object, and then this the direction variable, then I can just use variables. So this will require for me to, is it gonna help me? Okay, I guess I have to include it myself. So this is using a bolt, so I'll have to import the bolt namespace. So now that finds it, variables, then the variable type is object. The object is game object because the variable is connected to the player object, and the player movement is in the player object as well. So that's helpful for us. And then I need to use set, pass in the variable name, which is direction, and then pass in the value. Now I have a vector2 value that actually passed here. New vector2. Oh, well, got copied a semicolon. So that's one spot that I have to do. And then where's the other spot where I set the direction? Is right here. So change normal. So that's the other spot where I pass that logic. Okay. So technically I can comment this code out, but I guess I'll just leave it. And so now we're back to just recreating this. So I connected that variable, and the other variables that I need is transform for holding spot, pick up mask, and destroy effect. Well, destroy effect, that will be a little bit later, but let's add these right here. Well, actually, yeah, in bolt, since I'm using the embedded, I don't have to use those variables because I can find them. I can find those objects from, let me go back here. I can find those objects from the hierarchy. So let's go to added graph. And the logic that I have here is all in update, and I'm looking for the input get key down. That's the event that I'm looking for. So I can use the same logic of the update event and checking for get key down, but in both I can actually get a keyboard input. So keyboard in, so key imp. Let's wait for it to find. So on keyboard input, there's an event. It probably has the same logic in here. I can't check how it works inside here, but my guess is that it has an update, and then it has the if statement, or checks for conditions. If it's true, then it just does its smart logic. Okay. People, I guess, are joining the Discord server, so you might hear the Discord sound. Sorry about that. I'm gonna mute it. Mute server for okay. So on keyboard input, and the key that I used was E. Let me find that E. There we go. Find an E, and let's just use it on down. So that's the event that I'm going to listen for. And now there is a private there's a private variable or a graph variable that I need to create. And it's for the item that I'm holding. So holding item. Holding item, it's going to be a game object. And by default, it's going to be none. So here, I need to add a branch to check if I'm holding an object currently or not. Branch. There is my branch. So I'm checking the game variable, and I need to compare it with a null. So let's add an equal. So if they are equal to null, for some reason, it takes some time to find those units for me. So if it's actually equal null, so connect it here to the branch. If it's null, then I'll get a true. Then that means that if it's true, that means I'm not holding an object currently. So I'll need to pick it. I'll be able to run the logic of picking up the item. If it's false, then I'll be making the logic of dropping the item. So in here, let's go to the code and see what I have for picking up. So this is the drop logic if I'm holding is true, and this is the pickup logic. So I use a overlapping 2D circle, transform position, direction, that's the location or where I'm going to be picking it up from, and then also use a radius of 4 and mask the pickup mask. So let's add the unit. If it's true, then we'll do physics 2D overlapping circle, and I'll need point, radius, and layer mask, right? Radius, yep. Point, radius. And so for radius, I used 0.4. For layer mask, let's use a layer mask literal layer mask. And in here, I can select the pickup layer mask. That's what I'm using. That's the layer mask that I'm using for picking up for the pickup items that I can pick up. And for the point, now this one I need to use an add node because I need to add direction and my current position. So add. I'll use the generic, pass it in for that, and I'm adding, so get position. Okay, it's probably faster if I get position. The search works faster if you type out more of the information. So I'm gonna get the position of the player, and then I need to add the direction. So the direction is set in the player movement script, and that this is for the reason why I'm adding it is so that the check for pickup items is going to happen in front of the player. So it's just going to be checking in front of the player if there's an object there. So after that, I need to do another branch. And I have to do the same logic right here, that equals null part. Actually, the equals null is, I think it'd be pretty nice. Or even combine null, equals, and branch together. It'd be a very nice a unit to actually have. Because I think that's used very often. Very often. So I'll actually have, oh, I already have a branch here. What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, so here's a branch. Connect the branch right here. And I'm checking if it's null. Okay, so I'm currently at this spot right here. So if it's null, then I'm not gonna do this logic. If it's actually not null, if I have false, then I'll use do this logic right here. So pick up item, game object, hold spot, position, and parent. So let's go back here. First, I'll set the holding item to the current item. So I already mentioned that in some of the videos, but if you drag the variable to the graph, you can hold down Alt, and that's gonna change it from get to set. So it's just a fast way of doing that, I guess. So on false, if it's false, then I want to component get game object and connect it right there. That's going to store the game object for us. And after I store the game object, then actually the next step is setting set position. So set position, okay, didn't specify it. And transform set position. Transform set position. So I'm changing the position of this object, and again I need to wait. The position is of the I need to use the get transform position. Let me duplicate this one. So there is an object. Let me try to find it. So in the scenes, there's an object. Well, it's not that simple to find, I guess. But hold spot, I think I called it. So hold spot right here. That is just a, let me show you what that is. So it's inside my player. I just have right here a hold spot. It's just a transform that marks the position where I want that item to be hold. Okay, and it. So we got the hold position, and the last part is parenting. So I need to parent to the player so that the object will follow the player. Set parent. I really need to refer to transform set parent. That works much faster. Okay, so the object that I'm trying to parent is the self. Well, not self. The object that I just picked up, and I want to parent it with self. So let's find self and connect it right here. So that's the logic for picking up. And now I need to disable the rigid body. So set, look for rigid body first. No, set and simulate. Set simulated, and I want to turn it off, but simulated the object as well. So everything is referring to that one object that I just picked up. So turn off the simulate option, if someone's wondering. So if you have a rigid body, which I have right here, is this right here simulated. So if you turn it off, then the physics won't be calculating for that object, and that helps out. I think you also need to turn off the box collider as well, because if you don't, then the box collider is going to be like blocking you from moving or something like that, if you have a huge box collider on the object. So I think that's also one thing that you need to do. But for as far as I tested it, it doesn't change it for me. So it doesn't really do anything. Okay, so that is that, and I think we can test it out now. Never seen a visual scripting before. Yes, it's a very okay. So let's try picking up this spot right here, and click E, picks it up, and now I'm stuck with that object. So let's try it again. Click play. Click play. So let's go and try to pick up this pot. So we have the pickup logic. Now let's add the drop logic. Go back to our flow machine. Here's the visual scripting part of it. Okay, and so that was the check. I think I need to clean it up a little bit. Well, I guess move it. So now where I check if I have an item holding, if it's false, that means that I do have an item holding because I'm comparing it with a null. Then I need to start the other logic of dropping. And let me go back to here. And the dropping logic is, so I have to change the transform position back to it being in front of the player, setting the parent to null, so that I clear that, and setting the rigid body back to true. Also the item holding, set it back to null. So that's a lot of things that we gotta do, but it should be pretty simple because most of that stuff we can do right here. So I have the position, the parent, the rigid body, and also the holding variable logic right here. So I can duplicate that because that's the same stuff that we gotta do, except the order for the set variable is actually very last because I'm gonna have to use that variable for all of these for all of those inputs. So right here I'll need to set the position of the object, of the holding object, then the parent of the holding object, and I need to, for the parent, pass in null. So right there, that will disconnect it from, it doesn't like to null, set parent of the transform. So yeah, it doesn't like that I'm passing null, but that's how you clear the parent. And then it's the rigid body to do simulate. I have to set it back to true, and this rigid body of it's not liking that holding item is false by default, which is, it should be fine. And then set value of the holding item back to null. Okay. So one last thing. Okay, I can connect it right here, but I need the position calculation for the position, and the position calculation is this part right here. I guess I can move it here and just reuse those nodes, and that's the transform. And with that, I think that we should be able to get the drop logic working now. So let's pick up the item. There we go. And now let's undrop the item. And pretty nice. We got, that was actually faster than I thought it would take, but that's nice. Okay, so since I have some more time, let's actually get the throw logic working as well. So that one, let me see what we have here. So that for that one, I have it set right here. The logic itself is pretty, I guess, triggering the logic is pretty simple, but it does use a coroutine, which I will show how to make that. It's a little bit more advanced, but I think we'll be fine. So now I need another input and key code Q. I'll be also checking for item holding. This time if it I'm doing the logic only if it's holding. And then I'll start the coroutine of the throw item and set the item holding to null. So that's the logic that we'll be doing now. Let's go to edit graph. And let's copy this part right here where I'm comparing it to null, because that's exactly what I need. Control D. Move it here. So I'm looking for Q. Okay, that's the key input that I'm listening for. And I'm going to be doing only something only once I get false. So if it's false, let's go back here. So if it is false, that means that I'm holding the item and I need to start the coroutine, pass in the coroutine is a throw item, and passing the item holding variable, and then I need to clear that variable. So pretty simple. The clearing part, we have it right here. I could have just pointed the flow into there, but I'll just keep it separate for now. Then I'll need to have a get variable to pass it in the throw. And how I'm gonna actually start a coroutine is by using a custom event trigger, custom event trigger custom event. I'll pass one argument, and that argument is going to be the holding item. So pass it in right there. Attach it to self. So I'll use the same object and throw. I think that's throw item. Item. That's the custom event that I'm going to trigger. So again, there's always warnings when I'm passing in a variable that is initialized to null. but that shouldn't be a problem because we actually have a null check right here, and we only branch it out once once the variable is not null. So bolt is actually not checking all the way, not checking the logic flow. So that's why it's showing that error. We are fine and it's working. So that's the trigger part. So this part right here. And now I'm going to be recreating this coroutine right here. So I'm going to use a custom event. Custom event. The name is going to be throw item, argument 1. And the coroutine part is right here in this graph inspector. We can enable it for it to be a coroutine. So what that's going to do is basically in this flow it is going to trigger that coroutine, but it's not going to wait for it to complete. It's just going to continue on with the logic. So that's how coroutine works. And this code is going to be running until it's going to be done. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to actually animate the throw. So I need to get a start position and the end position. And I used variables for that, but I guess I can use cached variables in Bolt. Item parent. So we can set item parent to null right off the bat, and then so let's do this. So first let's do those cached variables. Forgot how to spell cache. There we go. So I'll need one variable for start and one variable for end. Oops. I have to connect them correctly. Come on. Don't want to do that. That's going to be a loop. So the start cached variable is going to be the position of the holding item. So here, transform get position, and pass it in. So that's the start. So I'm just storing the initial position of the transform. Okay, and the second one is going to be the end position, and the end position is going to be right here. So I'm just placing it in front, sort of. So I can copy this part right here, duplicate. But since I'm throwing, the item should fly a little bit further than when I'm placing it down. So what I did is just take the direction and multiply it by generic and multiply it by 2. Let's use float 2. So it's going to fly twice further when I'm actually throwing it. So to store that variable. So this is my start point, and this is the end point. And now I'm going to do a animation between those 2 points, and I'm just going to do a linear lerp. So for the animation, and this is the part right here, I have a for loop. So I have 25, which is just 25 frames. And then I set the item transform position to the vector, and then have multiplication of the I times 0.04. 0.04 is 1/25. So that's where that comes from. And we can actually connect that in that way. Okay, so the first thing I need is a for loop. 25. 0 to 25. And for every for loop, for every one of those, I need set position, transform set position, and right here we need to calculate for the position. So vector 3, and I'm looking for lerp. So lerp is linear interpolation, so it from 0 to 1, meaning 0 is going to be completely A and 1 is going to be completely B. So you can transition between those two using this value. So that's what a lerp does. Now, do I have to? Actually, I don't have to connect it to the flow, so I can just connect it this way. So the starting point and the end point. That's what I'm lerping. And now for the T, I need to use the index, which is 0 to 25. But I'll have to multiply it, multiply right here. I'll have to multiply it by 0.04. It's 1 over 25. I mean, we could use the 25 and make that calculation, but just keep it simple for now. So connect that in, and that should do the lerp. Now we don't want it to lerp like instantly in one frame, because then we won't see that transition. So instead, what I'm going to do is actually create a delay, and that's the reason for that coroutine, is so that I can actually delay it and like do one movement per second. And so I can look for wait. I just messed it up, did I? Okay, wait, and then have until, while, for flow, for second, next frame, end of frame. So, and I'm just gonna look for wait for next frame. So I'll just do a calculation each frame. That's it. So basically it's gonna do this logic, wait for a frame, and then go to the next loop, and it's gonna do that for 25 times, which is gonna be what's just gonna make the transition go for 25 frames. After it's all done, let's go back here. After it's all done, then I need to, actually I forgot item transform parent to set it to null. So after it's all done, then I need to enable the rigid body, and I also instantiate a destroy effect and then destroy the item. So let's add that logic. So first, let's set that parent. Where's my parent? Set parent to null. Just going to duplicate that. And I set it to null before. Before I start the logic, because if you move within 25 frames, then the object is going to move with the player, and that's not what we're looking for. So the next part is position, set parent, set simulate. So rigid body, enable the rigid body, right? So yes, enable the rigid body, and then I can do the effect part. So let me first run it, because I've been doing this for quite a while. So let's actually test it, and I don't have the destroy part yet connected, but this we should be able to throw it, the object already. So pick up the pot, Q to throw it. Whoops, seems like I really messed something up. The player just got thrown. Okay, so that's probably because I have missed connection of the object somewhere. So let me see. Edit, and okay, so right here, this transform set transform position actually use the player. So I need to actually connect it to the item, because I don't want that player to fly all the way there. So, and the rigid body as well. Missed those. Let's try it out. Hey, hello, anyone that is joining. Yeah, I hope this stream is helpful for you guys, because I got a request for making this using Bolt, so I decided just to do a live stream. I will provide a link to the final macro that you can use. So let's try throwing again. So the throwing works pretty good now, except I'm not sure what's going on with the distance of it's being thrown. The distance is a little bit off, so after okay. I messed it up here. So it's supposed to go to and then to the end variable. Messed up the connection there. Let's try it out. Oh, yeah. Any way to create or draw a line, and object follows that line in runtime in Bolt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do that. But yeah, so I can put it down, and then there you go, I can throw it. So that's the, I guess, throwing animation of sorts that I have. And now the last thing, let's actually connect the effect. Let's draw a after I turn on the simulation, I want to instantiate the effect. Instantiate game object instantiate. Come on. Game object instantiate. There we go. So I'm trying to use origin, position, original position, and rotation. So for the position, I'm going to use the object's position. So get transform get position. I could have just used the end position, but okay, I'll just do that. Do it like that. Or for rotation, we can do quaternion literal. And for original, I'm looking for effect. There's an effect asset right here, enemy destroy, and that's the effect that I'm looking for. After the effect is created, I'm gonna destroy the object. So game object destroy. Okay, this one had a delay. I don't need the delay. Game object destroy. And I'll use the one that doesn't have a delay, passing the object in like that. So that's the so now we should be able to have that destroy logic. So picked it up, put it down, and now if we throw it, the object gets destroyed. So that's how you would recreate it, that same logic that I did for this thrown mechanic with bolt. I will provide the macro, that I have. Let's actually, so I'll have to convert it. Convert. Pick. It's an asset, so I think it'd be better to call it macro. Macro. Bolt. There you go. More specific. Now, let me see if it's actually going to work if I have it set like that, because I have some reference to the scene objects, which I think is going to actually break it. Actually, it's working. It's ignoring the fact that so the problem that this macro has right now edit is the reference that I have to the holding spot. So I use holding spot right here. So if I click on it right now, I won't be able to find that holding spot, but it has the connection to it already because I made that connection before I created the macro from it. So that, but if you will import it into your game, it's gonna actually not work as you expected. So instead of doing it like this, what you have to do is actually go and create another object, and I'll just name it hold spot and use that as the object instead. So it's currently null, and the reason why I didn't set it is because if I turn it off, it's still going to clear it to null. So find it, I'm looking for transform. I mean, you can use transform or position. I use transform in code, so I just said to use that. And now I can connect that object here. And this way, this way you have two variables in your object that you use in the pickup script, and it's the direction. One of them is the direction, and the other one is the pickup spot, the holding spot of the item. So let me actually drop that on the Discord server. So I'll put it on the Discord server under resources. So if you want this macro and want to test it out, in your game, you can you can grab it from there. So so that is up on Discord. Okay, let's check the chat if there's any any questions. So I got one question. Hey bro, any way to create or draw a line and an object follows that that line in runtime in Bolt? Drawing a line and following it. So right here, I have the logic for getting the, I guess you can use this logic for having the object follow that line. But the logic is the coroutine and then having a for loop, but you have to store those points. Just the way that I'm thinking, you have to store those points that you want the object to follow. And so on mouse click, let me actually do that. I guess that'd be a fun little thing to do. So let's get the pot to actually follow the line. That's gonna probably take some time, but let's do it. So I need a variable to store the mouse movement of basically the mouse movement. So let's call it path. And this will be a list. Let me see if I can create a list of vectors. List of vector 3s. Okay, so by default it's gonna be empty. What I'll do is mouse input. On mouse input. So this one configure and handle global mouse input. So this one handles the global mouse input, which is what I need. Right. And I want on hold. So when I have on hold, that means it's gonna be firing every frame. So it's gonna be running every frame, which is what I want. And I'll store the position of the mouse into the path, in the path list. But then I also need to have another on mouse down. What I'll have to do first is to make sure that I clear the list. So here I need to say, well, let me see. Oops. Add unit, clear list. Okay, I do have that option. So once I click the mouse down, what I want to do is remove the previous path that I had for it, so I can start storing the new path. So mouse hold. And now I need to add those points every frame, add those points into my list. So add another unit, list, add item, add value. So add value, there we go. List connected here. The list that I'm working with is the path, and the value that I'm trying to store is the mouse position, but I need to convert it to the world space. So right here I need to add get mouse position, and I need to convert it to world space. So camera, the conversion is on camera to, no, what is it? Screen space. It's under camera and then screen's point to world point. There we go. So screen to world point, screen point to array, world to screen point, screen to viewport, viewport to screen point. So it's a screen point to world point. That's the one that I'm looking for. So the position is going to be, I'm not sure, I think I have to set the Z position of to 0, or not to 0, to the camera position, but I'll just leave it at that. So for the camera, let's use get camera, get main. I don't think this, well, I don't think this is an efficient way of getting the main camera, but I think they did improve it in 2020, that it's actually not, is not actually calling get component each time. Okay, I just used the wrong one. So this one has the eye, and I don't need the eye. Let's find the other one. Camera, screen, world. And I need this one instead. Position and camera. Okay, and don't need to connect it to. Pass that value to the end list. So one thing that I need to change is set Z. So I need to clear the Z, make sure that the Z is at 0. Otherwise, it's not, if it's gonna be at the same spot that the camera is at, it's not gonna actually display the, it's not gonna display, basically it's gonna be off camera. So click here, and then I'll enable chainable so that I can use that vector and connect it right here. So this is gonna store the mouse position. And I think I can test it out. Let's test it out. Go to the player, click play, and let's see if well, actually I need to open the graph to see if it's gonna work. Graph, add a graph. Let's minimize it. Oh, is it minimized already? Okay, minimize it, click play. And let's see, if I click on the mouse, it gives me an error. So the conversion, it has a problem with conversion. So let's actually use I never get what's the different list types that I have. Technically a list is just a list, but I guess it has issues. So I just use a generic AOT list. See if that's gonna actually work. Click play. And there you go. You can see that it's stored those position every frame. So now I can draw the, I guess the flow that I want the pot to go. And let's check it out. Let's actually replace our code to use that position, that path instead of our linear interpolation part. So inside here, actually let me duplicate this so that, or whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna be setting the position, but the position is not gonna be from lerp, and the index, what I'm gonna do is actually get the path. Now I need to get the length. So list count, what they use. I need to get the length of the list, so get count. That's what I want, and that's the maximum how long it's gonna last, how much frames it's gonna last. And then I'm gonna use the index to get item. So list get type, get item. Or is it just item? Get list item. Okay, so that's what I need. Get list item, and the index is going to be the index from our for loop, and this is going to be from our path. Okay, I think I got it connected correctly. So let's test this out. So first I'm gonna go pick up that pot. And now after I have the pot picked up, let's draw where I want that pot to fly. So somewhere here. And then if I click Q, there you go, it followed the path. I didn't actually draw the path, so you need to add some more logic for drawing the path, but I guess that works. So draw the path, and there you go. That's actually pretty cool mechanic, I guess. They can aim like that, like I want to throw it there. But the speed of how fast it travels depends on how fast you move the mouse. So if I move it really slow and then end up right there, go fast, it's gonna do some weird movement. Okay, so any more questions? seems like pretty quiet, so I think I'm gonna end it here. So thanks for joining again. Probably should do this more often, like once a week maybe, and make it a regular so that you guys can expect it to be every week or something like that. Take care, and I'll see you next time, I guess. Bye.